items of clothing to their owner. The incident had been the latest in a series of thefts of women's apparel from clotheslines in the same neighborhood. Any type of crime was such an unusual occurrence in this law-abiding town of 70,000 residents with a police force that numbered only 23 officers that the series of clothesline capers had made the news columns of the Chula Vista Star. Kelly, a U.S. Navy Seabee during the war, was an imposing 6'3" Irishman and father of 6 children, 5 of them boys. In his 5 years on the force, there had been just one narcotics bust in town. Homicides and armed robberies were virtually unheard of. As far as juveniles went, it was usually pretty minor stuff. Truancy, some runaways, a few burglaries. One 16-year-old boy had been caught stealing pocket change from the school office and was sent to juvenile hall. When the boy got out, Kelly tried to get him into the Big Brother program, but it didn't happen. When the boy went to see if he still had his drugstore job, he found another kid working in his place. 3 days later, the boy hanged himself. Kelly hadn't been able to shake the tragedy. The juvenile officer, with 5 sons of his own, would never forget the boy who had needed help and understanding, but found few adults with the time or inclination to give it to him. From his 4 years' experience working juvenile, he knew it would be advisable to confront the errant youngster about the stolen clothes as soon as possible. When Kelly pulled up in front of the residence at 545 Castleman Street, he saw it was one of those small, cookie-cutter stucco houses with slab floors built after the war that sold mostly to returning GIs for something under $10,000 with nothing down. They all had postage stamp-sized lawns front and back. More than not, each block had at least one flagpole flying Old Glory. Kelly knocked on the door and met the father, a recently retired Navy chief working for the post office. He was told the boy's mother was at work. He asked to speak to the 15-year-old, the oldest of 3 brothers, alone in his bedroom. The boy sat at the foot of his bed, head hung low. He was a good-looking, all-American type, with a thin face and skin freckled from a summer under the sun. Kelly pulled up the only chair in the room. The juvenile officer had a deep bass voice that filled a room, even when he spoke softly, as he did now. "I need to know what's been going on, son." When no answer was forthcoming, Kelly spoke some more in his fatherly yet firm manner, hoping to draw out this sullen boy who shyly made eye contact, but remained mute. When the boy finally did start to talk, Kelly was not surprised that he stuttered. It fit. The boy confessed to stealing the clothes. In fact, he admitted much more. He had been taking women's clothes off clotheslines in his neighborhood for the past year. He couldn't say how many times in all, but he estimated he had done it about once or twice a week. He usually ended up burying the clothes in the park or throwing them in trash cans. "Did you only take women's clothes?" Kelly asked. "Yes." "Did you steal anything else?" "No." "Did you break into anyone's house?" "No." Not only was the boy monotone, but he was so emotionless that he seemed unmoved by his own confession, or even by the fact that a cop was questioning him in the sanctity of his room. That was strange, Kelly thought. Most kids cornered like this would be sweating bullets. When Kelly stood to go downstairs and talk to the father, the boy went to his closet. He removed a box from the overhead shelf. In an apparent act of contrition, he solemnly handed it over to the juvenile officer. Leo Kelly had recently received a framed Good Neighbor Award from the local Soroptimist Club for his work with juveniles. When he was so honored, Kelly had given a short talk, mentioning that he wanted to get counseling for disturbed kids instead of just shipping them off to juvenile hall, but that many families couldn't afford professional service.